All right, welcome to episode 298, everybody. We are live 2 hours after the window slammed shut in dramatic fashion, and for once, it has been quite a dramatic deadline day. Adam, how are you doing?
I'm good. A lot better than I was at half time of the Man City game. Yeah, it's in Brighton tradition. We didn't do any last minute incomings, did we? Although it sounds like we tried, but a flurry of outgoing stuff confirmed in the last 24 hours that some we knew about and some we didn't know about until today. And then obviously around the league, some big boy stuff, but some very funny stuff happening in the last hour or so of the window.
And we were central to all of it, unbeknownst to us, right? Like we are,
Not
we are like
specifically me
random...
and you, but yeah.
Well, correct. Well, maybe it was. Maybe Igor saw the DM of my Evo'd Igor and thought, I can't leave.
It might have been that. But he still is leaving.
Yeah, he is. Has it been fully? I know that they've got 2 hours after the deal sheet was submitted to be gone. So I assume while we are live recording, we will get final confirmation of every deal that's kind of left to be done, including Eagles to West Ham. It is quite funny that like it's either West Ham with Potter or Palace. We're basically shipping out a lot of players to old managers today, with O'Reilly off to Marseille as well. And I guess that rolls into the City talk as well. So let's get started on that. So yesterday's lineup was a little bit different to one we were expecting. Obviously, we were all very down last week, and then Oxford rose us up a little bit. And then it was also still just Man City, though. So the problems were still there, especially given that Haaland loves to score against us. But Verbruggen in goal, Veltman at right back. Weaver is injured. Van Hecker, Dunk, De Kuyper. Baleba back in the starting 11. Hinchelwood replaces Ayari. Minte and Mitoma out wide. Gomez in the 10. And Welbeck up top. No place for O'Reilly, who stayed on the bench, and no place for Gruda, who was astonishingly good at Oxford, and no Greeks in sight. It was very much just empty, devoid of Greeks. And I guess now we kind of know why Matt O'Reilly didn't even come on as a sub, don't we? He's now gone off to Roberto De Zerbi in Marseille. What did you make of that starting 11? And what did you make of essentially this whole weird, almost love triangle of like who the hell is going out of Gruda, O'Reilly, who's starting where, what are we doing here? Like the whole thing. And then obviously O'Reilly's move today kind of out of nowhere to Marseille.
Yeah, well, if there was any question about the rumors that came out, a week ago from Pletty about Gruda potentially being a target to go to Stuttgart, if I'm right in saying that. And we all sort of thought, well, what's all this then? Why is this happening? He's been becoming more promising at the tail end of last season. And then we hear these rumors. Of course, the Oxford game happens, and then the City game happens, and Gruda has done everything possible prior to this point to basically say, you ain't getting rid of me, mate. Like I deserve this position, because it was all about playing time, right? It was seemingly whatever he came out and said, or what the agent came out and said, more likely was, let's put these rumors out there. Let's try and stir something up because this guy wants game time. And well, he's going to get it now.
World Cup year too, right? Under 21 World Cup year. Like he wants to break into that squad, that senior squad. This is the year. It's probably why Pletty was the one peddling it, right? Right, it all makes a bit of sense when you look at it like that.
Yeah, and obviously I guess the last time we saw Matt O'Reilly feature for the Albion was the Everton loss, right? Went out on a semi-high, scoring a penalty for us. Wonderful in that first game. Was it the first game, second game? Whatever game he scored the penalty in.
First one.
I don't know how I feel about this whole thing and where we've left ourselves. And I know you asked me about the lineup, and now I'm just talking about transfers. But I think with the O'Reilly thing, we've all come to the conclusion that everyone wanted that to work. And then we never really saw it. We talked about O'Reilly last time. You went pretty hardcore on how you thought O'Reilly might be the worst player in history. Well, now you don't need to worry about him, but I think it is a straight loan, isn't it? There's no buy option. Yeah. So Matt O'Reilly will be back as a Brighton player at some point, unless something occurs. Maybe this move will be really good for him. And I think that's actually going to be a nice league for him to play in. Maybe that is the right level for him to go from the SPL, do some Liga stuff. You've only got 2 hard games a year, give or take. And then maybe you come back and you're a better player. But Gruda has obviously been outstanding. The lineup, I think that the surprising part for the lineup was we were all hoping at a bare minimum after Oxford that CMAS would have a place in the squad. I think that was the big one, right? And he wasn't anywhere to be seen. So we were all furious about that, I feel like. The positive was that Ruta was back on the bench. So our major complaints before was that we had no attacking options to come off the bench, and we looked really light up top with the Ruta injury last time around. Well, now you had Ruta on the bench who could come off and make a difference. And I guess you could say the subs made a slight bit of difference in the City game.
Just a little bit, yeah. I mean, would you say, and I know it's only 3 games in, but like it felt like the pressure was on, didn't it, for this club? Like we just hit that bottom 3 for the first time since I think the very first like 3 games or so that we ever got promoted to the Premier League. We had just lost to Everton and drew with Fulham, who we beat last year in those respective fixtures. We beat City as well. Every game coming up until November, we won them all last season. And I think that the starting 11s were not hitting. A lot of people were not pleased. Some of the transfer news coming out, especially around the Gruda stuff, was causing a lot of upset on social media, especially. But I mean, like, if this team like truly has the ambition of challenging the establishment, like, was this not like the ultimate test? Like Mr. 135 charges coming home to play against us at the Amex? Like, it felt to me like at the Amex, it felt like there was a pressure on in the North Stand. It just felt like the atmosphere was like, we are ripe to get a bit harsh here. And especially in that second half when we kicked off, there was one particular passage of play where I think Craig called it out, where there was 5 Albion players in the box and we ended up back at the Bruggen and not a single ball went into the box. There was full on like a couple of boos I heard hanging around my head. I mean, what did you make to that? What do you make to the idea of there being a little pressure early and the discontent murmurs going on and how important this game was? Think it's a bit all overblown, or do you think this was an important one to get a result in?
Well, I think it was an important one from a fan base perspective. We know, looking at the fixture list, that we speculated about this idea that you could get into October and you haven't got any more points with the run of games that we have. And as a reminder, if you don't know, we have this stupid international break. Then we play away at Bournemouth, at home to Spurs, away to Chelsea. And that's our September slate of games. You've already completely shat the bed against Everton. You've thrown away 3 points against Fulham. Yeah, you get some nice vibes from Oxford, but looking at the Premier table, you go into the City game and you think to yourself, my word, we need a bit of a miracle here or this is going to get real ugly. And it's not like Hertzler is in this position where he's untouchable. We've still got a large chunk of the fan base that absolutely are not big fans of Hertzler. They haven't been sold on him since he's arrived. It's fair to say that the style of football and the identity of the club is still in question. What is Hertzler football? What is the intention behind it? What are we meant to do? What do the players do? Have any of these players got better under Hertzler in a significant way? And you can make your arguments for or against that. So I think it was important for Hertzler. I think it was an important game for Hertzler. If we'd have got spanked, the knives would be out. The knives would have been out. And the other thing to say here, though, major win, massive win. Let's not take away from that. And we'll talk about how amazing it was and how good the subs were and how good the second half was. Doesn't completely cover up all the ills and issues that we saw in the first half that we've seen throughout this season already in the first few games. Is this now going to be Brighton from this point onwards? Are we going to see second half City Brighton in the next games away at Bournemouth? Or are we going to go back to see first half City and not taking our chances against Everton, falling asleep against Fulham? Is that Herzl's Brighton? We don't know that yet.
Well, I mean, I'm one of them, right? Like, I'm not bought in at all. Like, I still don't know what Herzl ball is. Like, it's hard to buy into something I don't know what I'm buying into. Like, I get the 8th place is a great finish, right? And like, barring an absolute fluke, we're in Europe this year. But like, I still just don't understand it, and it's a weird one because I think only Fulham have more goals from substitutes in the last year than us. I think we are the team who's got more goals from their subs than anyone else except for Fulham.
And our points from losing positions are right up there as well.
So does that not say that, like, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because you go, well, that means Herzl is changing the game and he's making fantastic substitutions in the right places at the right time. Or does it say Herzl's starting 11 is consistently wrong?
It says both. It says both.
It does, doesn't it? Like, it's like he is dignity in the chat saying he was brave, and it's good to see. Like, he is frequently brave in making changes. It just seems that the first iteration of whatever his plan is that day is not great, quite often, which is not great.
But Josh, if he'd have started the players that came on, everyone would be furious anyway. But why is James Milner in this team? Get him out. What are we doing?
Absolutely.
It would have been this different version of complaints, because there's no way that he could have done that. It's like, why are you not starting Danny Welbeck? What are you doing playing a false 9 with Bradley? Like, whatever it is, or a half-fit Ruta. He couldn't have done that. So he played the hand he was dealt with the starting lineup in most ways. It just so happened that with levels of fitness for some of the players, we'll talk about Carlos Baleba and Danny Welbeck, who very clearly are not fully fit. And those players came in with a point to prove. Milner bringing a lot of solidity to the situation. But there's no way in hell you start that game by saying, I want my double pivot to be James Milner and Ayari against Man City. Everyone would have lost their minds.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But boy, oh boy, that first 60 minutes was grim, wasn't it? Like,
horrid.
I think the worst part is City looked crap. Like, they didn't look like a good football team. I just could not believe how open we were leaving the middle of the park. Like, it was so it was awful. Like, everything about that entire situation was bad. Jack Inglewood, like, I don't know. I don't think he knew where he should be playing. Honestly, I really don't think he had a clue as to what his job was yesterday. And I don't think that's his fault. Like, I think he did his best in what was a really poor situation. Baleba was left isolated against 3 midfielders constantly. And as you say, I don't think he's fully fit either, or his head's not in it with the United situation, or both. Who knows? But I thought the whole thing looked, they were shit, and like we were somehow just as bad, if not worse. I will give a couple of positives. Early days, absolutely love Van Hecker immediately going to war with Haaland, just out of sheer pettiness. Love that. We need it as well. We need a player like that at the back that's going to rile people up, right? Like Van Dijk does it. Like, you've got most big clubs have like a centre half that's immediately a dickhead to people. Like, we could do with, like, most clubs could do with one.
Dunk gave Haaland some crap with the goal. If everyone see that clip where he's basically just in his face and then ran off to celebrate. Yeah, it was, yeah. And I think Dunk did a great job on Haaland in that second half. It felt like he was like, right, he's yours now because JP's booked. Do what you can. And like, it was just a full on like WWE match between the pair of them. They were grappling like crazy. The people need to take a step back and admit, including us, about Lewis Dunk, because I know Stephen is already saying still not completely happy. because the goal passed slipped through his legs. I don't really blame him for that personally. For the Haaland goal, I think he's been one of our better players so far this year, Lewis Dunk.
I think he's been fantastic. I've got no complaints.
Look, everyone doubting him, and I don't think you can come out and say Van Hecke's been better than Lewis Dunk so far this year.
I agree. I think they're very much a par.
Yeah. Which
is
nice.
Good. Great. Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a good problem to have, but both of their distributions yesterday in that first half was genuinely some of the worst passing from our
everyone
I've ever seen. Yeah, all of them. Absolutely everyone. Verbruggen, Dunk, JP, Baleba was paid. Like, oh my God. Like the whole thing. Like not a single person could play a pass. It was so bad.
It felt like that. Bad. There was no ability to keep hold of the ball for longer than 5 seconds. But by the way, as you say, Man City weren't doing much better. The pitch was crazy slippery. I don't know what they did, put fairy liquid on it or something. But everyone was falling over. No one could retain possession. If we ask about an identity for Herzl football, I thought in the first half, especially, if everything else was crap, our press was really good. The pressing at at City when the goalkeeper had the ball was so strong and consistent, and that made a big difference to Man City basically giving the ball away a whole bunch because that press was so high. And by the way, they were doing it to us. So you had both teams trying to stop the build out from the back, which is what both clubs want to be able to do, and neither could cope with one another's press. So you just had this sort of melee of crap where no one could do anything with it.
It looked like kids' football, didn't it? It really did. Like, just there was the amount of head tennis that was going on. Like, it's like, what am I watching here? Like, feels like I'm watching like Little League, like little baby kids running around just chasing the ball.
This is a broader statement to make, and maybe this is just too small of a sample size. But I think the quality of the Premier League games I've watched in general this year, all clubs, being crap. Every team looks shoddy. No, it feels like no one's had a proper rest, weirdly, and everyone's come back and doesn't look sharp. Every game you watch, I mean, you think it was the first half of was it Liverpool, Newcastle? Am I making up games? I can't even remember what games it was. Some of them you watch and you're just like, this
weekend.
Awful. Then what was the previous weekend?
Well, I'm not sure. I know I was driving home yesterday from the game and I had Liverpool Arsenal on the radio and they were just saying it was awful. Like the quality was shocking. I didn't watch any of it other than what I saw on Match of the Day while I was waiting to relive the highlights. But like it was bad other than Szoboszlai absolutely belting that free kick in, which was unbelievable.
Well, it was a hell of it wasn't good. And I think also, the first half Liverpool Newcastle was a mess too. It's just no one. The quality is weird. And I think this international break, as much as we hate them, maybe I'm speaking for myself here. People need the 2 weeks to just take a step back, even though they're going to be playing international football. A lot of them, maybe it will help. I think it's going to help Carlos Baleba, by the way, in a massive way. The transfer window's closed. Get your head out of the Man United bullshit and focus. If you're a little bit unfit, take the 2 weeks to rest. That should get all of the nonsense out of his system. He can come back and be the player that we know he is.
I totally agree. And just for the record, it's not just like the eyes that say it. We had a 72% pass accuracy in that first half.
And Matt O'Reilly wasn't even playing.
For context, the worst team in the league for pass accuracy is Burnley, and they averaged 75.7. So we were 3% worse than the average Burnley performance over 3 games. Like that's how, like it wasn't just like I felt like it actually is it's absolutely spot on. Our pass accuracy was absolutely shocking. And for all the talk about City, like theirs was great, and they really didn't do much at all, despite us being as poor as we were. The one thing I will note, especially on the Dunk piece with the goal, I'm not really going to blame him for that either. And I texted you guys earlier, but like looking at the highlights, like we love to shit on Haaland because it's funny, right? Like the be humble stuff and just him being who he is. But the speed for a lad that quick, the way he jumped on that ball before everybody else was just scary. watching it back on the replay. Like, you can see why he is who he is in terms of the striker he is and how many goals he scores, because that was just it in a nutshell. Like, he was on that ball and scoring the goal before half the other players had a time to react. Like, he was that fast. And he loves scoring against us, doesn't he? Unfortunately, so thankfully we let him have his one, and then turned it on later on.
Yeah, I think if you polled what defenders in world football, especially the Premier League, and then you said, like, honestly, who's the striker you least want to come up against? You can talk about Isak. You could talk about what I think they would all say Haaland. He's terrifying. Of all the players you could think, who do I not want running at me at full steam? It's him. Like, give me one of the little ones that's going to dance around and try and skill their way through whatever. Yeah, do that. I just don't want some freight train freak running at me that's also got really tidy feet. So yeah, thankfully we kept him to 1.
Yeah, and not only that, but like, it's like, yeah, if we got Isak, at least he's going to jump in the channels every now and again, and my fullback can worry about him. No, This guy's going to sit in between my 2 centre backs and just be an issue all day.
Yes.
And the second half, we came out and really looked much the same, didn't we? It was the same shit all over again. And as I said, I felt I could hear the crowd starting to turn. There was a lot of frustration, and it was mainly around just going backwards. Like, a lot of that pass forward, like there was so many shouts of like forwards, like please. Like, it was very much the end of De Zerbi's tenure. I feel like I heard that every single week every other week. Like, it felt like I was hearing that at the Amex of like, please God, like somebody play the ball into the box. And it felt like that yesterday. And then on exactly an hour, I think it was, the subs went on. And we saw them all getting ready, and I think the missus said, like, there was 2 or 3, and I thought the same thing. And then all of a sudden, 4 rock up. So you can't say he wasn't decisive. James Milner, Yasin Ayari, Jorginho, and Gruda on for Baleba, Hinshelwood, Welbeck, and Gomez. And it was almost instantly, like truly almost instantly, from the first kick of the ball. Once that happens, the game just flips entirely on its head, doesn't it? Like, the speed on that front line just changes altogether. The way Jorginho led the press, like the predator way that he did it, like I saw it again. Like, I remember pointing it out before, but like the way he started making, like, triggering that press and pushing everybody else forward, and Minte loved it. He was all over that shit. Like, it revitalized the wingers. Like, all 4 of them all of a sudden looked like this unit of speed and power and energy that's like just we'd been missing the entire game. And within about 6 minutes, I think it was, we won that penalty, and I think we almost had a chance for 2 before that. Is that right? Minte had a shot that was well saved, and then that wonder save from Trafford from the deflection from Van Hecker.
Ridiculous. That was a ridiculous save, and that was one where you felt like, oh, come on, like, all this pressure, all this opportunity against this type of side, that has to go in, even though it would have been an absolute scruffy ass goal. He still wanted it, but yeah, he clawed that out, which is, it makes it even more funny that they saw that and they're like, okay, let's get Donnarumma in. This guy, we don't want this guy in. That's get on the subspens, mate.
Yeah, get him off.
fairly unfortunate for him. But you're right. Everything changed in a very significant way, apart from actual structure, like tactically wise. From what I could see, for the most part, it was still that general 4-2-3-1 that we tend to play. Maybe I'm hallucinating, but I felt like I saw Gruda push right up at certain points and basically be a.
It felt more like a 4-2-2-2,
a little bit
in the attack, big time.
Yeah, and that was nice to see, because we've talked a lot about, well, where's Gruda really? Where's his best position? Where should he actually play? Ruta, we've talked about, well, we want him to play 10, but we need him to play 9 sometimes. And sometimes you want to lob them out on the right wing. Well, good news is it seems like these guys are actually fairly good at probably playing all those positions. So, I tweeted something like this out, but I don't see a situation where you can't now move forward with having Gruda and Ruta start games. And unless Danny Welbeck's at 20% fitness, which by the way might be the case based on what we saw out of him. He offered zero movement, no outlet at any point, which was horrible to see. But you're right, the threat that was created by these guys and the ability to basically look a lot more sharp and focused and quick also meant that your Mintes and the Matomas also became more of a threat. And just a quick shout out to Minte before I forget. I thought defensively he was excellent against City. The amount of times I saw him track back and a tackle would come in and be like, what is he doing there? And Veltman would tuck in, right? And we'd create that sort of slightly more 3 centrally to cover for Haaland a little bit more. De Kuiper's more trying to bomb forward on the left-hand side. And Minte's just like everywhere. I thought that was, even though he wasn't amazingly impressive at the top end of the pitch, defensively he was excellent.
Joint most tackles alongside his right side compatriot Veltman and Diego Gomez as well. Weirdly enough, who was definitely meant to play at a 10, but it felt Gomez played much more of a regular centre midfielder for a lot of that first half as well. Felt like he was tracking back constantly, which probably doesn't help because I don't think Gruda is going to do as much of that. He's going to offer more of an outlet, and I think Gomez couldn't help himself, which is fine. But in that situation, it's rough. It's not great. Handball, definitely a handball. Obviously, no concern. I don't think any City. I haven't seen a single City fan have a complaint, so you know that like it's a handball. Nunes, I don't understand that. We talk about us not having a right back. I don't understand that experiment, but it worked out well for us. Dunk at the back post, it wasn't it, who put that ball in and got the penalty. Yasin Ayari stood over the spot.
Yeah.
And the question was, is he winding us all up and soaking up the abuse, which he didn't actually get any this time, or is he going to hand off the ball? And he did hand it off. And the man that hasn't scored in over 2,000 days stood up there, James Milner. How were you feeling in that moment? I've not been that close to just not watching a penalty in a long time.
Well, you were there, so I guess you didn't hear the commentary that we got, which is basically, oh, Milner was always great at taking penalties, takes penalty for England. On the screen, it flashed up, last 5 penalties, green. I was like, he's missing. 100% he's missing. And superb penalty. The problem is that as soon as he scored it, my cynical brain then thought, well, he can't be the penalty taker. He can't play 90 minutes. So how are we going to figure this out? It's almost like we sort of get a penalty. We have to sub Milner on to come in as like a specialist to take it. It was a really good penalty. Really good.
There's no keeper saving it, right? Like, no. Even if it go the right way, it was that perfect. Like, it was what you want from any penalty taker. Phenomenal.
Very, very good. And what minute was it where we absolutely should have had another penalty? Where Gruda got trod on.
I don't know when that was. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I do not know when it was.
I'd be interested to see what people in the chat that are listening. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Where Gruda ran through, got into the box. I can't remember what City player it was that just kind of bumped into him and then just stood on his foot. And he looked back at the replays. They didn't even VAR it. They didn't even get him to look at it. And Hertzler was losing his bloody mind on the side. He was like, why are you not going to go and look at it? How are you not doing that? And he wouldn't do it. The referee, I don't want to talk about the referee, but the referee was awful. Awful.
I was going to say, let's just slag him off a little bit because it was really
30 seconds of slagging him off.
Because I want to end the game stuff on a high note, which is incredibly easy to. So let's do the rest now, because everything else after this is like beautiful. So, because he really was. It was truly one of the worst reffing performances I've seen in a I felt
a week
biased way. No, because there's quite often you go there and you watch a football and you go, that ref was shocking, and then you look back and you go, actually, he was just shocking across the board he got lots of decisions wrong, even the ones that went our way.
Mm.
Whereas this one it felt like City we were all just like extras in their performance for the first 60 minutes and a little bit afterwards. The goal they scored, that was probably the crowning moment for me, where he then allowed Pep to give a 2-minute tactics coaching session on the sideline and literally chatted with Haaland while that happened. And the fans were like losing their minds while all the City players were over, huddled up with Pep, hydrating after the goal. And it was a good 2 minutes. And it was just like, the crowd was going insane. I've never seen anything like it. Absolutely mental. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it was every little decision that happened it just felt like, oh, of course, yeah, sure, whatever, mate. Any time anything occurred, it was ridiculous. Someone mentioning the Gomez challenge. Is that the one where he was running through and there was what was the one where someone was running through and like the Man City player was just sort of just went straight over immediately and the ref blew up for a free kick? That
was the Gomez one, because that was where he made sure to score just in case.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and so Andy's brought that up. Yeah, it was a string of things throughout that game that was absolutely ridiculous. But you know, obviously you do what you can to keep Pep and co content. But we should, I know, that's the ref bit out of the way. The goal, Gruda's goal on 89 minutes, and this was after Pep did his Pep stuff, right? He played his hand in 72 minutes and 85 minutes. So yep. you bring on another O'Reilly. Doku came on. By the way, watching Doku trying to do anything against like Veltman and Minte was really funny.
Which is even better because he's a player we traditionally struggle with, like a style of player we have traditionally struggled with since freaking day one. Like,
he was useless. He kept trying to do his little dancing, and I felt like they just kind of stood there. And at one point, I think he just knocked the ball out for a goal kick because it was just silliness. And then he brought on Rico Lewis, Ruben Diaz for Kushanoff. So we had substitutions when you're like 1-1, and probably if you're City trying to win a game, because he took off Silva and Marmouche as well. Who knows what he's trying to do, but he outthought himself as usual. If you look though, when you think about what's the difference the subs made and what did Hertzler do to change the game, the goal in the build-up, the ball comes out to Matoma, and the right back, who at that point was Rico Lewis, I think, because Nunez had come off, punts the ball back out after Matoma tries to receive it. But if you freeze frame the replay on this, you look across the back line of Man City. Firstly, they're pushed all the way up and they're basically sat on the halfway line. All right, 88 minutes into the game. You've got Matoma, who's one-on-one with, again, and maybe it's a central defender. You then look over. You've got 3 Brighton players and 2 City players. All the other City players are nowhere to be seen. They're all pushed up. There's 3 of them marking De Kuiper, I think, for some reason. And you've got Brajan Gruda stood there, and Minte on the far right-hand side, and Georgie there as well, just kind of chilling. And the ball comes back. De Kuiper, I think it's De Kuiper, right? De Kuiper like heads it forward, just pinballs a little bit, heads it forward, and I think then Matoma gets the ball back from Georgie. And he's just staring down like the opportunity to make 14 different passes. The openness that he has for this City defense is ridiculous. Like, Gruda has no one marking him. No one. It's the 88th minute. He's got no one on him. And you've got Minte barely being marked on the other side. He could even play the ball through to Ruta, because I think he beats his man one-on-one there as well. But you just pick the simple pass out, and you've got Brajan Gruda, who now is just basically one-on-one with a defender coming towards him, but he's behind him, and he decides to just be an absolute shithead. and just stall it and dance his way around Trafford, which, by the way, go back and for all the plaudits that João Pedro is getting, the Chelsea game that happened this weekend, João Pedro had a one-on-one opportunity and he tried to do what Gruda did and go around the keeper and he made himself look like an absolute tit and he completely screwed it up. So good riddance to him. But like composure from Gruda is just, he should have probably passed it to Minte. The composure was ridiculous, but just a amazing goal in terms of the overload. Herzl has basically put all these players up into a position where City looks stupid. Pep and City look stupid in that goal. And then Gruda finishes it off perfectly.
There is one moment there, and it's one that you've already pointed out, and Match of the Day pointed it out too on a still screen. And it was Rico Lewis biting onto Kuiper to be like the fourth player that's biting on him. And all of a sudden, you've got the option of you can either, before it was Georgie or like Mitoma and Rico Lewis, and you had Ayari and whoever their centre midfielder was, well marked. Like that's what you want to see. And the Kuiper had nowhere to pass the ball. And Rico bit on him, and all of a sudden, there's just this entire channel wide open, the entire half of football. And they still screen it, and they still screen it to show how much space is there and Rico Lewis biting. But what I noticed the most was that as that happens, the two managers are phenomenal. And like if you can see an angle of it, it's just incredible because as that happens, Pep is going like literally pointing to the space that's open, going like, like you've left the space open, and Herzl is like hands in the air, like look, there's so much space, and then the rest is as you go. And honestly, like the Oxford situation just flashbacked in my brain when Gruda was dancing his way through, didn't it? You like, I was like, oh my, no, please don't do it again. I said to Britt today, like, I think that it felt like the longest 2 seconds ever watching the contact of the ball and it roll in from that North stand, watching it. It felt like just, felt forever. Like it was horrible. And then obviously it went in, it was like absolutely brilliant. And after that, like for all the talk about bad that first up like 60 minutes were, how easily did we see that out, really? Like,
I was thinking the same thing. And I didn't know there was something wrong with me, and there probably is. But in this particular instance, no, I wasn't nervous. I was watching, and the ball would go out to Doku, and I was like, "Wow, he's just going to fuck it up." And all we kept doing was the only space that we would give would basically be to let them cut in and have some space on the outside of the box. And the only problem I have with that, and the only nervousness that I get from that is I get flashbacks to Gakpo on the corner of our box, just curling in a right footer into the corner, which he did to us, I think, 2 games in a row when we had to play them in the Cup and then the Premier League last year. But they were giving it this time to Reinders, and he couldn't do anything with it. And their shooting was off. City just weren't there. And not to make this about City, obviously, but the hope coming into this game was that can we get the City that played against Spurs, not the other City that we know that they can be, and the Reinders that we saw in the first week of the year. And thankfully, we sort of did get the Spurs City. And I felt so comfortable with our setup and defensive setup at the end of that game that I wasn't even thinking that they would score. Whereas normally in those positions, I'm like, okay, how are we going to Fulham this one?
Yeah, Reinders still looks good, by the way. He passes the eye test, though. Like he looks like the only thing he looks like the only player in that City side that was going to make something happen yesterday. Every time he got the ball, I was like, oh shit. Like, and every time everyone else got it, like you say, when Doku got it in that last 7 minutes, I was like, oh, phew, like we're safe. And yeah, I mean, I think it also lends itself to like, if there is a football team in the Premier League who's going to pile everything at you and try and score late. City are probably one of the least effective at it, right? They're just like from bottom to the top, not designed to play balls to the wall, try and grab a goal late football. Like they're just not. Like it's just not. They're not capable of it, and it showed yesterday. There was no urgency about a lot of the stuff they were doing. Was there? Like it felt very just the same, except get it out to the wing a little bit quicker, and then still do the same.
Yeah, they were very pedestrian for a lot of the game, and maybe the best way of summarizing it, it felt like they were a team of Matt O'Reillys, just sort of strolling around trying to do things, but not actually having any effect. They were there, stuff was happening, people were running around, but outside of some kind of silly little pinball goal that they scored, which fair play to Haaland for being the first to react, there wasn't any other real moments where you thought to yourself, wow, this one's terrifying for us. And we out XG'd them, didn't we?
Yeah, in the end, yes.
In the end, so we were 2.29, they were 1.84. It was even on shots. They just had a crap ton of passes, which is very, very City.
And we had a lot more shots on target, right? And they're at the end of the day, they're the ones that count. Like if you're not working the goalie, like what's the point? They had three on target.
3 on target, exactly. That's why I didn't feel that nervous.
And 2 of them I can remember. One of them was a Marmouche one, and one of them was a Haaland one. They were both outside the box and never looked like doing anything at all. Oh no, of course not. The one outside the box from Marmouche went wide. It was Haaland's header at the back post. That caused a little bit of trouble.
That was a little scary because you're like, he's definitely winning that header.
Yeah, and it was made scary because Verbruggen punched it, and instead of it just going away, it hit Dunk in the back of the head.
Yeah.
And it was like any other angle, and that's like gone out for a throw, but it just smacked straight to Dunk, and then it can go anywhere.
Well, they were.
Got away with it.
I mean, Haaland should have scored, 10 minutes in, 15 minutes in, when we just left a massive gap and he was one-on-one and just running at us. And I thought, well, this is not going to go well. And I think he just punted it wide, didn't he? It was
really poor finish as well.
And this was the first in how many games that the first Rodri loss, right? When he's been in the starting lineup in however many games.
Long time.
So, I mean, Hertzler, whatever you think of him, has seemingly got Pep's number, which is quite funny considering we get dicked on by the most ridiculously crap teams. But for some reason, the board fraud is well and truly fraudulent when it comes to facing up against Hertzler. So,
yeah, unbeaten. Hertzler's never lost to Pep.
Yeah, there we go. Doom mentioned first loss in 50 games with Rodri starting. Who'd have called that after watching the first half?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Imp in the chat saying his main complaint was Sunday was £10 for a cheeseburger on the concourse. Honestly, do you know what we've started doing? I've started just getting a meal deal before I go and eating in the car. Like that's how much I'd rather spend money on anything at the Amex. It's so.
How much is a beer there now?
Don't know. Couldn't tell you. Someone will be able to tell you in the chat. I don't drink, so I don't really I never look at it. Anyone in the chat? What's the price for a pint of Harvey's or whatever it is you drink at the Amex?
My go-to used to be the Bovril. So that's more of I need the Bovril index to track the inflation. Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Gross.
No, when it's cold, that nothing quite like a beefy warm drink.
Talking of beefy, loved a bit of Diego Coppola coming on late. Talk about tactical sub. Like, don't know none of this fancy French centre half. Nah, we're getting on this absolute 6'4" Brit shithouse unit to see out the rest of the game and just form another like defensive lineup. If there's ever someone you want to have to go up for a header late, he's probably near the top of that Brighton list already with just the sheer size of the guy.
He's a big boy. I mean, penny for Poscagli's thoughts though. Because where's he going to fit
in that situation, though? Like in that situation, I feel like even Boscagli is understanding why he went on and why he didn't. Right? Like, they're going to get set pieces. That's the biggest risk here. Like the biggest flashpoint is going to be a set piece if they get one. I'd rather have Coppola marking Haaland than you, Olivier, respectfully. And I think Pascagli probably looks at that and goes, yeah. With 3 minutes to go, I understand. I think he's old enough as well, right? That's the beauty of him being 27. He's probably got the maturity enough to know, like, yeah, I can understand the reason for that sub. And he's probably being ran through that on the bench too. So £6. £6 for a beer.
Look, don't come to America. If you guys, if £6 feels egregious to you, do not come and watch any sporting event in America. Because I think when I went to the MetLife last, which was for the Club World Cup final, so a couple of months back, I think it was $15 for a can of beer. So that's about £11, I think, for a can. And some of them were more expensive than that. So you don't get out of there and without paying, I mean, something just like $100 to just have a bit of hydration at a sporting event over here. So
yeah, I just looked. They've released the beer index on the US on some random website. It's the price of a can of beer every NFL stadium in 2025. The one noted is a Bud Light.
It's not worth drinking.
The cheapest is Cincinnati, $6.80 for a can of Bud Light.
Is, you do have to be in Cincinnati though, is the downside. I know that Atlanta do quite good stuff. We're on a tangent here. Atlanta does really good pricing in general for their beer and food. They did some thing.
So I went to the Falcons Bears game 2 years ago when Fields was like in his like prime Fields moment. And I was really impressed with the price of all their concessions. Like we had like proper food and everything. Like it was genuinely it was no more expensive than like going to a fast food place and like grabbing like fast
that's
food.
what it should be.
Yeah, it was. I was really impressed. Do you want to know who the most expensive stadium is in the NFL for a beer?
Well, it's going to be MetLife or one of the Californian ones.
It's none of those. They're not even. San Francisco is the closest one to that. They are 29th. The Niners Stadium at $14.
What's the worst one? Packers?
The Washington Commanders.
Oh, DC.
$16.50 for a can of Bud Light.
And then we're talking. We're not talking like big old. It's just.
It's just a can. Yeah. And then Vegas, of course.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're going to get milked there.
Yeah, and then you go into all of your LA ones, and then you get to your Giants and Jets. $13 now for a beer this year.
Yeah, it's not great, is it?
No, I mean that's a tenner. You imagine charging a tenner for a pint for a half at the Amex with the place that don't have no seats left.
but you say this. You cannot look at a player today being signed for £130 million and not worry about the knock-on effect and the domino that happens there, because inevitably the trickle-down economics in the negative sense will impact. Someone's paying for that, and there's only so much, fake oil money that exists, I suppose. Or I suppose in this instance, it's directly US money. Fenway Sports Group funded for Isaac.
Or in the case of Blueco, you just trade players between yourselves and pay yourself.
Yeah, Blueco. What a wonderful transfer window Blueco had.
Ben Chilwell to Strasbourg today. You see that?
Yeah, I did. They just
for actual money. Like, are you actually joking? Like, how?
Legal, fully legal.
Fully legal, apparently. Yeah. Just
Ben Chilwell and Julio Enciso plying their trade at Strasbourg.
Liam Rosino, right?
Is it him? No,
he's at Strasbourg.
Is it Strasbourg? Is he at Strasbourg?
It's him, sure, isn't it? Yeah,
I'm doing sure well as well.
He's got them playing good stuff. Yeah, he's got them playing good stuff. Man of the match yesterday. Who was yours?
This has to be a sub, doesn't it?
Well, I also would be quite happy giving it to Jan Kuba.
Yeah.
I thought he was, as you say, defensively excellent when we were bad. And I thought that he was superb when we were when we were like all over it, when we fired ourselves up. He was right up there and like fired up alongside the subs. And he played really well, I thought. And I mean, even for the goal, right? Like he dragged players wide still because they didn't dare leave him. Like it helped Gruda only have 3 to dance around instead of 4. Like he like pulled someone wide because they were terrified of leaving him wide open, as they should be. Because we've seen what he looks like when he cuts in there and shoots. It's quite insanely accurate. But yeah, a lot in the chat agreeing with me. Who else you got?
Well, yeah, I mean, like I called out his performance earlier, and I think I'm not judging Minte, but I just give it Gruda. Give it Gruda. I think what's crazy is the subs that came on the 60th minute, mind you, with the exception of James Milner, they had 100% pass accuracy. So Ruta, Gruda, and Ayari. Now they only had 5 and 7 passes between them. 100% pass accuracy across the board for them, which is fairly ridiculous. And so basically, Gruda just didn't do anything wrong. He had 100% pass accuracy. He came on in the 60th minute, and he had more shots than anyone else. Three shots. No, anyone else had 2, and Lewis Dunk was on 2. Bunch of dribbles, obviously, which you saw. One of them was for the goal. And I think in some ways I'm maybe comboing this with the Oxford performance a little bit and just general vibes in general. And you have to give credit for him. And I'm just really excited about seeing more of him, because this has to be the Gruda coming out party at this point, right? And we're going to see a lot more of this guy for the rest of the season now.
It has to be. Like, it has to be. Like, he has been... It's like, okay, but it was Oxford. Yeah, but then it was City. Like, and he ripped them a new one. Like, it has to be. Dignity in the chat also giving a go for Milner, saying he marshaled us home. I mean, I did think he was brilliant yesterday. That's exactly why you signed James Milner. That's exactly why you sign him. For
right. Well, we've got
minutes.
30-minute of football. His entire Brighton career, he's come on and he's done what we wanted him to do.
I would arguably say that, given I haven't spent a single penny on him myself, it was that worth it for that half hour.
Well, you have. Again, why do you think those beers are £6? It's because you've got to pay for milk. Well, yeah, someone's paying for it.
Someone is, yeah. Yeah, overall, though, like, I mean, it's weird because we won all 3 of these last season. So from one perspective, I'm not happy with it at all. Like, I feel like we're well worth more than 4 points here.
You're talking about the first few games of the season.
The first 3, yeah. Right. And the manner in which we lost that 2 points against Fulham is even worse, I think. But also the context that it was the first game ever at Everton's new stadium throws that form book wildly out of the window. You can't kind of compare the two. I feel like if you're being a realist, you'd take 4 points from these first 3, wouldn't you? A win against City, a win against Fulham, and then a draw and a loss between either of these 2 games, you would go, that's pretty much okay. Would you not?
I was thinking about this exact same thing yesterday. And if someone had said to me beforehand, all right, 4 points after these games, what do you think of that? I'd be like, yeah, sounds about right. It's nice to have it so that you got your 3 in this last game before the international break, and it was against City. Because think of it was the other way around. You come out, you get your 3 points against Fulham, awesome. And then you get a loss and a point. Suddenly you're thinking, I don't know what are we? What are we doing? Now though, now we're all happy. So it's amazing how the story arc with football can impact things so much, isn't it? Because now we're feeling good.
Yeah, it is. It's always nice to go off on a high. We are fickle beasts. Yeah, I mean, big time. Around the grounds, West Ham 3-0 against Forest at the City ground.
No one called this.
just casually scoring 3 in the last 8 minutes, by the way. Like nothing before that. So like again, is that papering over the cracks a little bit there? Like all of a sudden banging in 3 in the last 8 minutes. Kind of feels like it, doesn't it?
Well, they're probably going to have Igor now, aren't they? So they're going to be great.
True. And then Palace, Dick and Villa. Like what? It's less about Palace and more about Villa. What is going on at Aston Villa? Like they are second from bottom. I know it's only 3 in, but a draw and 2 defeats in their opening 3. A draw with Newcastle, a loss against a team that everybody expected to really struggle this season, and has against the other 2 games other than Villa. They lost to Brentford, and then obviously they were just dismantled by Palace, who also hadn't had the best start. You know what I mean? Like they didn't exactly look like world beaters, did they? They got a point at home to Forest, and they got a point away for Chelsea that was also just like a pretty funny Chelsea performance.
Yeah, they've also done the Villa I'm talking about here. They've done that. And I'll bring up my one Football Manager mention for the show. They've done the Football Manager one where you spent all your money before, and now you have to do like weird free transfers and loans to paper over, to use your phrase, the cracks that you created. So they've just brought in Jadon Sancho. Sure. I guess they're looking. They're like, okay, we had Rashford. Let's do it again. Let's have another underperforming Manchester United, overpaid, highly touted youth prospect that's turned out to actually be not that good. Harvey Elliott, I think, has now gone there, right? After his previously touted, maybe he comes to Brighton. Loose rumours. Lindelof on a free transfer. Yeah, all right. And then they spent some money on that Guesson from Nice, but they lost Jacob Ramsey, which was a fairly big loss in my opinion. Good player. So I don't know about them. The other weird thing with them is they had the Emi Martinez, like wave goodbye to all the fans. He spent the last 5 months trying to get out of Aston Villa, and they signed a new contract.
Bizarre. Like, what on earth was that? That's how bad that performance was, though.
Yeah.
From what the heck was his name? Bizot, but I don't know how you pronounce it. Bizot, Bizo. I don't know. 5.3
Bizot
score. Shocking.
He's Dutch, isn't he? Yeah, I don't know how you say it. Yeah.
Igor has now been confirmed 2 minutes ago. Literally 3 minutes ago now. It ticked over to 3 minutes. West Ham have signed him on loan.
That's a weird one, isn't it?
West Ham fans will love him though, won't they? He was the player that tripped and fell to give them the Conference League win for Fiorentina. That was his last contribution to Fiorentina, was slipping Gerrard-esque to give West Ham the Conference League.
Well,
and 3 years later, he's playing for him.
You brought Fiorentina up, and you've made me sad because we've lost our boy.
We have.
Tariq Lamptey. Off he's gone. As everyone expected to Fiorentina. We all called it. I'm sad. Does everyone feel the same way where it's like, we knew it had to happen that he had to leave. He should leave. But I'm still sad about it.
I think the same problems that plagued him here will plague him there. But I'm still sad about it. So yes, I totally agree.
Keep him around.
I'd rather have had him for 17 games here than there. Because we've also just got rid of our only natural right back. That's it. We have no right back at all. Because Veltman propaganda is not going to suffice. I love that man. You know I do. But he was a centre half his entire career before we forced him into being a right back.
You don't need to worry. All we do is we take one of our Dutch players and we play him at right back.
Yeah. His hamstrings never recovered, did they? He had to have that full surgery on them, and it was never the same. Because at one point he looked like he was going to be one of the best right backs in the Premier League for that run there.
There was that little period, wasn't there? And all the Chelsea fans were like, "Oh, what did we do? Why did we sell him? We always get screwed up." And then and we had that little the Lamptey cycle that we started to talk about, didn't we? Where it's like, "Oh, hold on, it's so back." and then it gets injured.
Pulls something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it may well excuse Welbs' performance yesterday. His son is leaving the club.
So. It's true. Yeah. Yeah. It feels a bit end of an era-ish though, Lamptey leaving.
It does a little bit. I agree.
And I'm not quite sure why that is, but there's something more to it than just a regular transfer. Because with some of the other transfers, and again, we're just talking about transfers now, right? You think about the Buonanotte one. I know we're talking about some loans and stuff.
Let's talk about that.
Like,
what is the big brain thinking behind loaning Facundo Buonanotte to Chelsea and it acting like it's a developmental loan for us? Like, what is the big? Can you make sense of what the theory behind this is? Because I don't understand why Chelsea why when Leeds were interested, did we go with Chelsea where he's essentially guaranteed to not play a single game of football?
I haven't spoken to anyone, Chelsea fans included, that understand this transfer. I mean, they were trying to get Xavi Simons, and then Chelsea were like, "Oh, we didn't get him. Who's available? This guy?" I really don't.
Press and hold one. Paul Barber.
Just
got anyone?
Who have you got? I don't understand their transfer policy and what they're doing and how they're building the team. By the way, I completely see Chelsea like winning the league, but I've never seen a club amass so many random players. It seemingly of no cohesion and just sort of let's see what happens with this bunch. I don't understand it. I can only see for us, we got a loan fee, right? It was a couple of million as a loan fee. Maybe it's just the financial offer that was the best one. I don't get it. For that, I don't know the finances of the club intricately, but for that, it's almost like I'd rather just keep him around.
Yeah, I agree. Stephen's saying it could be Chelsea training. It could also be Europe, right? Like they may actually give him a run in cup games. Maybe
we couldn't get in a Leicester team.
He could until Cooper got sacked. Van Nistelrooy purposely weren't starting loanies. Like that was his whole shtick. That was a weird.
Worked out well for him.
Well, exactly. That's why he's not got any another job because he was an idiot. I feel like that one, I'm not blaming Facundo for because he was starting every. My Leicester supporting mate before Cooper got sacked was like, "You're gonna have another Ben White situation on your hands because we love him. Like we want him to stay already." Like
the few of those games, he looked great.
Yeah, that first opening 10 or so before Cooper got binned, like he looked like their brightest spark, like by a mile. Every Leicester fan I knew here, living in Leicestershire, loved him. That first 10, 12 games, loved him. And then Van Nistelrooy came in and he did not play him again. And he outright said at one point, like he did not want to utilize loanees when he'd rather develop young players at the club. And I don't know why we didn't bring him back, or I don't know.
Listen to these names: Jamie Gittins, Alejandro Garnacho, Estevao.
God, I forgot Garnacho's name from
Facundo Buonanotte. By the way, they've already got a crap load of players that can play in these like attacking positions. What are you doing with all of these? I feel like they're trying to create the Power Ranger when they all combine together and they become the big one. Because they're all right. They're all quite okay players. Maybe together they become one really good winger. But I don't get it.
No, I don't either. It's quite uninspiring. Liverpool, Ekitike or Etikike? I don't know. Ekitike. First of all, what a phenomenal signing he looks. Second of all, how's he going to feel when he never plays again now? He's like, because that just feels so harsh, doesn't it? Like he started all three and he's looked their best, but he's looked better than Salah. Like he's looked their best player, and he's now definitely going to get dropped because there's only one player who's going to start in that position. So what the hell happens now? Like, is that like that's going to cause problems? Like it just feels like they've done what we did. They've signed 4 or 5 players for the same spot, and they can only start 2 or 3 of them, and now they're going to be upset.
Yeah, Liverpool are confusing because I'm sure this in some ways brings us around to the knock-on effect of Igor and the Gahey thing falling apart. But and Joe Gomez potentially becoming a Brighton player that didn't happen. But yeah, Ekitike has looked great. But if you look at their squad and what their aspirations are, they're quite light if he went down with an injury. If Ekitike went down with an injury and they didn't sign Alexander Isak, who do they play up top? Because Nunes is gone. Chiesa, I don't know what
They're probably, which is exactly what your point is, they're probably forced to play Gakpo as their striker.
And they don't want to do that. And there's the other piece to this as well is the Salah thing ends quite soon. He's going to go to Saudi at some point in the next couple of years. And they signed two guys that are potentially going to be Liverpool players for the next 5 to 10 years in Ekitike and Isak. Neither of them are, even near their prime ages, right? So they're certainly they're spending the money now to build something out. So they've got more depth right now. It might push some players out of position at the moment and upset them for a little bit. But in the longer term, they're going to be set up perfectly for success. Florian Wirtz obviously hasn't come out and played his best football yet, but I'm sure he will do. I think if they'd have ended up signing Gahey, we'd be looking at feels a bit Harlem Globetrottery.
Galacticos.
Yeah.
In the Scouse region, yeah.
It's just... at the same time, they still struggle with injuries.
The saving grace is we have the Konate comedy every 2 games, although he's injured now, isn't he?
Which is why they didn't want to get rid of Joe Gomez until Gahey was a sure thing. So for everyone, I'm sure everyone's kept track, but the news came out today that Brighton have been sniffing around for Joe Gomez, which makes sense, right? As in, not that you really need more centre-back cover, but more right-back cover. You just got rid of Tarek Lamptey, the point you just made. Don't really have a right-back.
And he's not a natural right-back. He's a centre-back turned right-back, so he's literally perfect.
There you go. So it made sense in that regard. But Igor was about to go to Crystal Palace. All the Brighton fans are getting upset. So, oh, don't do it. Don't go to Palace. Everything's going well. We might end up with Joe Gomez. Igor goes to Palace. Gahey goes to Liverpool. Igor then goes, I don't want to go to Palace. No. Presumably, the noise that's coming out around this is he wanted first-team football, and Palace weren't able to offer him that. I don't know who else they're playing because Lacroix obviously stars, but I don't know who their other centre-back is for Igor. And he goes, you know what? I don't want to play European football and play under Oliver Glasner. I want to go to East London and play in an athletic stadium under Graham Potter in a club that is currently undergoing what seems to be a deep-rooted crisis. And that obviously then everything fell apart. So I don't know who's making decisions for Igor, but for me, they seem questionable because I'd rather be getting 70% of Palace games and playing in Europe. And I say this, if I'm not a Brighton fan, if I'm Igor, then go to West Ham. I don't get it. But
yeah, me either. I think also another one that I enjoyed was I shouldn't be surprised given their owners and the mental gymnastics they perform. But I loved the total double standards on being delighted to see the back of the rat Isak and never seeing him again, and being delighted to welcome home loyal Wissa, like Johan from Brentford. Like, they're the same picture in terms of like their absolute arsehole behavior to their home clubs. Identical. One of them, rat. Other one, welcome, legend. It's so funny. And as a club who spent the last 2 weeks bitching about it publicly as a club, you'd be surprised that they'd be interested in a player who would do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, idiots. Of course. There's and pretty much every club's fan base would probably do the same idiocy. But I think I don't like how this represents a situation now, and I don't know where everyone stands on this, but it's very clear now that if you're half decent at football, if you just throw your toys out the pram, you will get a move. Because the clubs seem powerless because of the amount of money that the players make and the impact that they have to actually punish them in a situation where they don't give them the move they want. Because if you didn't sell Isaac, what happens? You get a player that can basically like refuse to play for you or not train, play awfully. It doesn't really impact them that badly. So you then lose them on a free transfer at some point. It's like, well, what do you do? To the bad behavior from the players, if you want to call it bad behavior, is now just rewarded in almost every single case. And I bring this up because at a certain point, obviously, and we've seen this in the past for us, our players, some of our players are going to be like, well, yeah, I'm just going to down tools then. And we're lucky Carlos Blade hasn't done that. Well, that felt like that parts of the game against City. But
it did. God bless him. It did.
And that's why the no arseholes policy becomes even more important. But at the same time, no one labelled Alexander Isak an arsehole before this whole affair. It seemed for everything that everyone saw, he seemed like a decent guy. But he wanted that move. And my word, did he get it.
And if you believe his side, right, he was promised a move this summer, which makes it even just get... Who knows? There's a lot of yapping. Because, I mean, it's just so hard to know when it comes from the players. Because Cucurella also said he dreamed as a little boy to play at Stamford Bridge. So, like, it's like, yeah, it's just... They talk shit when they want to, don't they?
And the agents and the nonsense that comes out to the journalists
and so do we if we're interviewing for a new job, right? Like we all talk to bollocks to get where we need to go to get promotions and more money. Like we know better. We're just hustling for way less.
Yeah, exactly. We're just a cheaper day. And I'm absolutely not defending the clubs in this, by the way, because the clubs will just drop them at any point.
There's the other part, right? Yeah.
They will just, see you later, mate. You're done. Or they will screw you over, just like how Chelsea nearly screwed over Nicholas Jackson. It's like the whole window. All right, Nicholas Jackson, you're not going to play. We don't care about you. Just leave. Go. Like, find a club. All right, I found a club. Okay, great. I know we've got a player injured. You can stay. It's like, well, that's not nice, is it? No, you can't do that.
Is it true that they've recalled that fella from Sunderland now instead?
The guy whose name is hard to say.
Guy.
Yeah,
it's almost like gay.
Mark Guy.
Yeah. That's harsh for them as well, because he was like supposed to be like a big striker signing for them for the year. It's a good job that their current strikers actually look quite good.
I don't know if it was just a troll or something, but it seemed genuine. Someone had posted on Twitter, Sunderland fan, a picture with Gooey shirt that they got done. And someone was like, why you done that? It's just, I don't know. I just felt good about it.
Oh, man. Absolutely brutal. I'm not... Kasim in the chat wants us... It may be a bot, it may be a real person. But they'd love us to talk about Manchester United. Do you want to laugh at Manchester United for a minute before we stop the podcast? We are way off-piste. We are becoming...
tried their best
variety pod.
Tried their best to not get 3 points against Burnley. Did all they could. I still despise Bruno Fernandes. He's the rattiest rat of all rats. And it's funny to watch them be crap. It's funny to watch Manchester United be bad. It continues to be funny.
They are just... This Amorim situation is just so bad, isn't it? Like I
actually quite like him though.
So do I. But he is so inflexible with his tactical shit. Like he's absolutely not giving it away. And I mean, we talked about this outdoors giving it with the Grimsby stuff where we watched it live on Wednesday. So I don't think we need to go too much into it. Really, it was just more of the same, but against Burnley, and they scammed a win.
Yeah, and they've brought in some random keeper because they're like, oh, we cannot play Onana ever again. So
did the Lemons fella?
Yeah, something like that. Whatever he is, he's coming, and it's gonna be funny when he's crap. Lemons.
It's inevitable, isn't it? Like even if he was the best keeper on the planet last week, he's gonna go through that door. You ever watch Severance?
Yes.
He's going to go through that door like the elevator, and it'll go ding, and he'll go, "What's a goalkeeper?"
Yeah, yeah.
And you'll just have Bruno saying, "Is that work there is mysterious and special or whatever he says," and just Lemons is just flailing at every ball, and he just flapping. Understand.
Yeah, just lost any awareness that he had. Yeah, it's it's I'm just putting us slightly back on track as we round this thing out. I do want to ask a question because I was thinking about this yesterday after the game. What do you think Ferdi Kadioglu is thinking, and where do you think Ferdi Kadioglu fits in this whole mess? Because we have Weaver playing right back. Weaver's injured, and we go, oh, now's your time, Veltman. And he comes in, and we continue. So, oh, De Kuyper, what's your worst asset? I'm not that great defensively. All right, we're playing City. You're starting. Okay. All right, it's not working. We look absolutely terrible. Okay, we're going to make so many changes. Everyone's coming off. We're completely changed it. Ferdy, sit down. What's he thinking?
My copium will continue with this because I am convinced one day we are just suddenly going to rock out with a back three. And there's your answer. You are going to have De Kuyper on the left. You're going to have Dunk, Van Hecker, and Boskagli in the middle, and you're going to have Kadioglu at right wing back. That's it. That's your answer. That is, in all seriousness, if you are a football manager at that club and you want to play Kadioglu in a position at any point in that team, that's your answer, isn't it? Like, what a phenomenal back five that is. And then you have Baleba in the front of them mopping up. And then you just have whoever else. Well, I mean, you can just stick Ayari, Minte, Georgie, Mitoma. You're laughing.
You know he played Minte right wing back.
Even if he does. Stick Kadioglu centre off. I don't know.
I just think it was interesting. I just think it was interesting. He didn't at any point think I'll roll the dice on bringing Kadioglu into this game. Now, obviously, I can't critique him because it worked out amazingly well. He's for everything we always say about Herzl, his subs in general since he's been started as Brighton manager have been great. But I do wonder with Ferdi Kadioglu whether we've got a bit of a square peg in a round hole. I don't know where with Oxford he started left wing.
Yeah, and it was crap.
Right. He's played left wing. He's played right wing a little bit before he got injured. Scored a nice goal last season. Do you think
the original plan was for him to replace Purvis and we thought he might go last year? Like,
this is what I mean. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is or was or whether it's changed.
Dignity and Andy are on the back three train. So, I'm not the only one coping with this theory. So, we'll see.
Everyone thought we were going to do a back three after the signings we made in the window. And it was like, all right, let's watch these friendlies. We're going to play. Nah, no back three for you.
It still doesn't make sense. Like that you're going to, I give it another month and a half before Boskagli is fully rebelling and wanting to leave if he's not starting football games. So we're going to have to figure it out sooner or later. World Cup year. Yeah, he's going to flip his shit if he's not playing regular Premier League.
Does he even play? He doesn't get in the France team.
No, but he's going to want to. He might have gone, right, this is my year. Move to the Premier League, get into a European chasing football team, finish top 6, top 7 with this lot, because I've said that's the goal. Look at that, Bosch. Get one injury away. Konate does his knee or whatever he's done at Liverpool this week. He's injured. Boom. Because Konate's in the French squad.
Well, hold on. Who didn't what's his face go down as well this weekend? Why am I blanking on his name? Who's the other centre back they play? Is he not in the team? Where is he? Whatever, someone else. Does he get in that team? Who knows? But we've got to figure something out, right? You didn't You didn't sign Boscagli and you didn't sign Kadioglu before to just not play, right? Like these guys have to play at some point. Well, we'd be fascinating if we come back after the international break and we're just rocking a back five. The people want to see it.
I'm telling you, the people do want to see it. If you're gonna, like, I tell you, like, sticking 30 on the right, De Kuiper on the left, those three at the back, Baleba sweeping.
You know, though, well, you've talked about this at the start. All right, let's make this suggestion. Who do we email at Brighton for this?
Paul Barber at BHFC.
Paul Barber at BHFC. We're notoriously we're bad at starting games. Under Hertzler, we seem to not be good coming out the blocks, and we've got to figure it out. We're the comeback kids now. Start with the back. Start with the five. Start with the five back. See if that does it, and then what happens? Then you just do your Hertzler magic until the 60th minute. And if it doesn't work, you just switch back to 4-2-3-1. You bring on James Milner and the youth, and everyone's happy. Send that in.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that's the move.
All right. Well, we will be back in 2 weeks because, as you say, we have that dog international break that absolutely nobody cares about. What have we got next? Is it Bournemouth next?
William Saliba. That's who I was blanking on.
Oh, he did go down, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Very early in that game, I think. So that's probably not a good sign for him if he was taken off. It may have just been a precaution, but we'll see. He's had a bit of a history, hasn't he, Saliba? Because he had that neck issue, didn't he, a couple of years ago as well?
Yeah.
Bournemouth away next. So on the 13th, we've got loads of football as soon as we come back, though. Because I think if my calculations are correct, we'll have Barnsley that week. We won't be the second week because I think someone did the math and said that only the European playing teams played that second weekend of the Carabao fixtures and all of the other teams played the first one. So we will have Bournemouth, Barnsley, Spurs.
Yeah, we have 3 games in 7 days.
Yeah. So once it's back, we're back again pretty quickly. And then we go away just as quick. So we've got a bloody international break at the beginning of October as well. But we will be back in 2 weeks to talk Bournemouth. And we will just see how it goes. It's going to be a tough game, that one. Because they are, even though they've sold almost half their squad, they are still looking very good under Iraola.
Yeah. If you ask me how many points we're going to get out of Bournemouth away, Spurs at home and Chelsea away, I will guess anywhere between 0 and 9 points. And I don't feel confident about any range in that spectrum. I just don't know. I don't know. Gun to my head, I think you can beat Bournemouth. That Frank Spurs side looks like a Frankenstein. They look amazing against City, and then they were just untruly bad this weekend. Like, did you see the stats? I know we're wrapping up. Did you actually look at the stats that they?
I didn't see a minute of their football. No.
Hold on, I got to bring this up before we wrap because it was against Bournemouth.
It was, yeah.
All right, look at this. They're at home. They've just come off the back of beating Manchester City. 0.19 expected goals. No big chances. 5 shots to Bournemouth's 20.
Good grief.
What is that?
And they were chasing the game from 5 minutes.
Awful.
Good God.
So if we face that Bournemouth, that's not good. But if we face that Spurs, that's really good.
Yeah. There's just one more thing as well. How cooked do Wolves look?
Well, they were the easy prediction at the start of the year about the side that just lost too many players, didn't invest enough, and just aren't going to go anywhere. And I guess that is looking like it is coming true. So
it is a bad football team. So at least we might get something there in October. We do love a trip to Wolves. We do generally do very well against Wolves, both home and away. So we shall see. But all right, we're definitely wrapping now. We're an hour and 28 minutes in, 24 minutes in. We will be back 2 weeks from now. Have a wonderful international break. I won't because I'm sad that it's gone. But NFL football is back next week. So between that, this weekend just gone was the last weekend before we get a meaningful NFL weekend every single weekend until February the 1st. Something like that.
Something like that. And also, you just in case, you got Formula One as well is back at the moment, and no downside unless you're a Ferrari fan. So,
yeah, because they do. There's no gap. There's no 2 week. It's after this. It's Italy next, and then there's a gap before Baku, right? So yeah, this weekend is actually quite stacked in terms of anything but football.
And if there's any time to have an international break, I know we all get annoyed about this because the season's just kicked off, but with all the chance for back and forth and silliness, and after we just did that to City, I'm okay to have I'd be fine with a week off. So yeah, let's
just
see.
Good vibes for a week off.
Good vibes, yeah. No sadness that's going to come when we, get beaten 4-1 at Bournemouth or anything like that. I want to live off this City win for a little while. So yeah.
All right, we will see you in a couple of weeks, everybody. Have a wonderful time. Enjoy whatever you're going to be spending your international break on, and be safe.
Chisel.